Welcome to 10-Minute TTRPGs, a show where every episode I try to create a game in less than 10 minutes and then we give it a spin. But first, every episode I also answer a question about game design before we get started, so let's take a look at today's question. The question for January is very basic. How did you get into game design? Hi, everybody who doesn't know me. I'm Cutest Patoot. You can call me Patoot. Please, Cutest Patoot was my father. I had to do that joke once, okay? How did I get into game design? I got into it initially as a player, especially through the character creation aspect. That was actually the first paying, professional TTRPG job that I got, was as a character designer, which was for the Son of Oak Game Studio game Queers. I created Nino Rosado. I was very excited about helping create elements that would kind of join a game in character creation is just as important to me as mechanics, just as important as win condition, all of those little things. And I liked contributing a piece of the puzzle. And then eventually I realized that I have contributed so many pieces of the puzzle, and I've played homebrew. I've observed a lot of homebrew dynamics in different games that I played with others that ran them. I kind of cobbled my way to understanding how to make the whole puzzle to make an original game. And then I wanted to share experiences and stories of mine. I think my first game was a gamified version of just the concept of being a little silly little magical cat going on adventures, which is kind of born off of a lot of fairy tales and things that I grew up with. And I kind of wanted to share because hearing those stories gave me a lot to imagine as a kid, a lot to play with. I think the initial setting for Faxnamai, which it has several settings now, but the original setting was this Candyland type place, and Candyland was my favorite game as a kid. And I didn't usually play the game. I just used the game as a little solo RPG setting, although of course that's not what I called it. I was 5. It was just when I went to Candyland in my head, and I would use the characters that it was given, and I would just kind of make up scenarios and stories. And it brought me a lot of joy, and I wanted to share that kind of impetus to creation with other people. And I was well, if I make people a game, then I'm literally telling them exactly how to start playing. So that is how I got into it. That's how we got into game design. It's different for everybody, which is why it's also a question that I really like asking game designers now. So for everybody listening who might be new to me, definitely new to the show, as this is the first episode, I'm going to be generating a random game title from a generator, and then we're going to go through some set questions that I've put together where I kind of reduced game design to its very bare bones, just straight up skeleton. And we're going to create a micro TTRPG from scratch in less than 10 minutes. I will be setting a timer. You will hear the timer. I don't think that that's a copyright infringement. I will try to shut it off immediately, because who likes hearing a timer when you're vibing, right? So the cool thing about this is that the concept of the show is also designed. If you listen to our mission statement and trailer, you already know this. If not, welcome. I'm going to tell you anyway, for this episode at least. It was created in homage to a lot of reality craft shows like Project Runway or Face Off, where you get a prompt, or the people on the show get a prompt, and they create something based off of that in a limited time. But you at home, there's nothing really stopping you from at least designing along, So that's how I learned a lot of things about fashion design, special effects, makeup, all of that. And I wanted to give that to you guys to, either this is showing you maybe how to get into game design. Maybe this is something that you would have never thought you would be able to do, something you just like games, but you hadn't really thought about making your own seriously. But maybe you're a game designer who needs a little inspiration. Maybe you just need something that'll help you get into the flow of creating. Maybe this is just your warm-up. Maybe you're just listening to me and you're imagining in your head. All of this is fine. I made this so that you can partake in any way you want to or you can, and I encourage you to please play along. So I've linked the title generator that I used for this episode in the description of this episode. We used one from itch, actually, from itch.io. It's a TTRPG title generator by Michael Clamorous. I really hope that I was saying that correctly. I will be linking it in below. We'll probably use some different title generators over the course of the show, but this is the one that I've been using, and this is the one that I used in the initial pilots of this show, which are coming to YouTube soon, so keep an eye out for that. And I want to see what you come up with. So when you make your own games from this prompt of this episode or from next month's episode, please share them with me at the cutest patoot on Twitter. Link will be in the description. And I'll feature it on my socials. Like, I will promote it. I will look at it. I'll be super stoked about it. I'm going to tell you that right now. So, okay. If everybody's ready, we're going to roll. I'm going to set the timer. And we are, oops, not 14, 10. There we go. 10 minutes. And we're rolling. So I'm pulling up the generator. I have it on my phone. Let's see. And okay. So today's game title, this is cool, is New Adventures with Lovers. Now, it doesn't just give you a title, it also gives you like some like context of like what kind of game it could be. We can choose to ignore or use that. It says a single session game for 1 to 6 players. I do like the single session thing. I don't know if I'll keep 1 to 6 players. We'll see how many players, okay? So the first question is, what's the premise? What's the end game versus like where you start? So this is New Adventures with Lovers. I don't know. You could either see this as like, you know, maybe you're like the third wheel to like a bunch of couples, because who hasn't had that happen to them? At some point you're sitting like with friends or like with a group of people, and you're just like, wow, everybody here is not single. It's just me. Or you could be like, you know, maybe this is like double date scenario. You know what? Competitive double dating does sound very fun. No, you know, we're going to do that. We're going to make it a competitive double dating. That is the scenario. I don't know if you've been on a competitive couples date. I feel like I haven't, but it doesn't make sense that I haven't because I am very competitive. So this is the premise. The end game is you're just so enamored. You want to come out with your partner looking the best. So this is a game for like 4 to like even numbered people. Okay, so like 4, 6, 8, etc. like people. Okay, so we've got this. And then what are we doing here? So you start out, you arrive at the date location. I'm writing the ugliest thing right now. I'm going to put this on my social so that everybody can see like what this game looked like when I was scribbling it down, because like obviously like you can write stuff out afterwards. It's not part of the 10 minutes of creating it. It's going to be really ugly. So you start at the arriving and you end leaving the date, and you want to have won the date, which means that you want to have the smoothest conversation. You want there to be no awkward pauses. You want to win the date. And in order to win the date, you have to look the best as a group, as a team. And you have to have bragged about your partner the best and the most, which I think is something you'll have to roll for. And you want, you know what? We're going to keep it simple. You want to look the best at the end of it, and you want to have bragged the most about your partner. Because who doesn't? Who doesn't want to brag about your partner? If you don't want to brag about your partner, I think you should break up. I'm just going to tell you that right now. Anyway, so this is the premise. That's the end game. So that's the premise win condition. At the end, you want to have the most, like, bragging points. That's that. Okay, we're going to use a simple D6 for that. I'm going to tell you right now. How do we get there? I don't think that there's a GM. I think this is GM-less. Because I don't think you need one. Although it'd be really funny to have the GM come in as a waiter and like fuck up your shit. So like that's something that maybe like one day we could add that to this if you want to when you play it. I'm gonna leave it GM-less though, and I'm thinking we use 1d6 because I love an accessible dice. So how do you get there is the game mechanics. So how you get there is, I think it's turn taking. That's determined by the dice. So determined by a roll, maybe who has like you all roll, and whoever has the lowest gets to go first, and it always goes diagonal. So if you are like person A and B are on a team, and C and D are on a team, and person A rolls the lowest number and gets to go first, then it has to go to C or D. Probably in the order of like which of them rolled lower. So it has to go diagonal. That way you can't accidentally like gang up on like the other couple, because you want to look good, which means you can't look like a bully. You have to look like you're organically the better couple. I love competitive dating. This is great. What an amazing concept. I can't believe I haven't done this sooner as a game or in life. Jesus, I'm not normally like this openly competitive, but it's pulling it out of me. I love a game that can cause social destruction. I love a game where people start yelling. It's I don't know what it is. It's great. So if you get there, you have to take by rolling like 1d6, and I think it'll have like an event table or an action table. It's very role play heavy, I think. And like only I think 1 or 2 of the numbers on the d6 can actually get you to like brag, because like you need bragging points, but you have to get there, you know, and it's not that easy. So everything else you have to navigate that also as good as you can. And then you might end up having to like roll. So like on like bad actions or actions that are like too obvious, or depending on how you execute it, you know, you might have to smooth things over with like an extra roll. You can be helped with an extra roll. Like a smoothness check, right? I think that's fun. And then let's see, an action table, you can be helped with a thingy. You can lose and win points, and that'll be determined on the table. Because you can also like inadvertently brag, right? So like if you're just like talking about them normally, if something comes up, like, you know, like share a memory could be one of the things, and like depending on like how good or bad you look in that, you know, you can roll to see how, like if you got points for that, you know. But also if you roll like a bad thing and you can't save it and you can't spin it, you're losing some bragging points. And you gotta look good at this at the end. You gotta get the most bragging points. That's the whole point of double dating. You know what? I said that as a joke, but like legit, like I do think that is probably the point of double dating. Let me see. And now character creation. We have 4 minutes left. Who do we play as? We're playing as a couple. And you can roll or choose to determine like how long you've been together. Did you have a meet ugly or a meet cute? Let's see. What's your status? Are you married? Are you engaged? Are you together? Do you not believe in the institution of marriage? What is your vibe? Then you get to like, you just choose like what you look like. And what your economic status is. You can roll for that. Economic status, job status. Might throw some curveballs in there, like recently unemployed, you know, like, because that's something that's a little difficult to talk about. You don't want to like necessarily talk about like being recent when you're like on a date with somebody who might have rolled like super high economic status, which like, why are you on a date with them unless you're trying to rob them, you know? I don't know. And that's it. It's a competitive dating game between 2 or more couples who are trying to get the most bragging points. Actually, let's stop the timer. So we've got 2 minutes, 47 seconds left, and that's the concept of the game. That's it. You're going to be a competitive double date game. You arrive at the date location, which you can also then, of course, like choose or roll. And then you've got a little action table of the actions that you can do. One of them is straight bragging, successful bragging. The others, you have to try to make them into ways where you are making your partner look good. That's really important. It's about making your partner look good, not about making yourself look good. If you fuck up and you make yourself look good and you make your partner look bad, you're definitely losing hella fucking points, okay? Because you don't look good. You don't look like a team. Team is the most important thing. When you're dating, you want to be a team. So you have to get the most bragging points by the time it's over. Since it's 1 session long, it's probably, you know what? Let's time this fucking date. Let's make it timed. So let's, you know what? I'll dock myself the 40 seconds that would have been left before it was 2 minutes left. And I'll say that it's timed. I love a timed TTRPG. I think it's so fun because, like, I'm very time blind. Like, I have ADHD. It's very time blind. So, like, when you have, like, something that's timed, I'm like, this is tight. I know for a fact in 20 minutes, I'm out of here. Which, not because I want to leave, but, like, because I'm like, it just soothes my mind to be like, we start now. And in 20 minutes, this shit is done. And I can continue it if I want to, but I can also leave. And my freedom returns. This is how that works. I'm so sorry. My freedom returns in 20 minutes. And that makes me feel better. And I think that that's like a barrier also because like some people like they get into games, even micro games, and they're like, I don't know how long this is going to take. I don't know how long I want to be here. What if I don't like it? I want to be stuck somewhere for like hours and hours. This is a really great intro game for that because you're not stuck here. I don't know how well this is going to go if you are an actual couple playing this. I think it could get very messy, which I think is part of also the fun. But it's also very fun if you play as a couple and you switch partners for this. That can go either way, and I'm not responsible for how that goes. I will tell you that right now. So you take your roll, so you turn taking is diagonal, and then and it's like set turns, and you can win or lose points. You can create your little couples beforehand, and I'm stoked about this. This is so cute. What the fuck? This is so cute. I say that like I didn't come up with the premise for this because I was in love with this concept, and I think that the show is fantastic. Anyway, enough for myself. We're going to see how it plays. Okay, so I'm going to have a little table written out here in a second because the designing part takes 10 minutes or less. And now we're just going to like add in some of the filler stuff and we're going to play it. So first, I'm also going to get out my dice. Today, I'm using, which dice am I going to use today? I want to use romantic dice. I'm going to tell you right now, I have exclusively pink dice. I don't have any dice that are not of shade of pink. It wasn't necessarily on purpose. It just happened that way. I'm going to use, you know what? I'm going to use these. They look like fucking candy. I'm going to have to put a swearing warning at the top front of this episode. Just, you know, for the sake of sakes. This is an all hot pink. They look like gummy bears. Matte, translucent dice set from Die Hard Dice. I don't need to pull out all these dice. I literally only need a D6. I don't know. I was pulling them all out because it just looked so good. They're from Die Hard Dice. I'm not sponsored, but you know, you can never stop hoping. This is really, I also haven't asked them, so it's not even like they said no. I totally did not ask. I should have, but it's fine. We'll do that soon. They're beautiful. There's no ink on the number, so it's really just like this beautiful, like smooth matte look. And more importantly, what they are in. Sorry, Die Hard Dice, not to nudge you. I'm just very excited about this next thing. Okay, they're in my custom Eris Savad dice bag. It's beautiful. It's pink. It's got hearts on it. It's got knives on it. It's got blood on it. What else do you want? So you can get yours too at erisavad.com. The link is in the description. Eris Savad, bags, dice trays, jewelry, and more handcrafted products made with eco-friendly practices in a cat and dog-friendly home studio. So if you head on over, you can also follow at Stitched by Eris on Twitter, and you might actually catch some of those cute pictures of the cats and dogs themselves. So honestly, I cannot recommend enough. I love Eris. I love every product that Eris has ever made. The quality is actually bananas. Like you will not find better dice bags. You will not find better dice trays. You will not find better anything of what Eris makes than you will find on erisavad.com. So this format of testing the game might be more familiar to you if you listen to Quick Start, which is another show of mine. We're going to be making a character in the system, and then we're going to play around. Usually I play around like as both GM and player, but here we don't have a GM. I am, however, going to play all 4 people in this couple. So we're just going to play in like a 4 group. And then you can also, like I said, you can play this in as many couples as you want. And here's the really cool thing. This is not not compatible with polyamory couple. You can play in pairs. You can also have a polyamorous group. That's totally fine. It's all working. It's just still turn taking. So the diagonal thing of turn taking still works. You might have both advantage and disadvantage because yes, you have more people on your team. So you might be able to get more points, but also you have more chances to fuck up. So I think it evens out a bit. So we're going to see what kind of stories come up now. All right, so you are going to need to play this. You're going to need something to keep track of things. You can use something digital, type it out, or you can write it out. Personally, I don't have a preference. Whatever you need to keep track of your stuff. I'm going to be using pen and paper. I've got my got my D6. You can also use digital dice. Rolladie.net is a really good one. Free dice. You can put as many as you want, as high as you want. It's pretty tight. You're not going to need multiple dice for this, but there is a lot of stuff to roll. So first and foremost, this is also timed. Technically, this is timed at 45 or 30 minutes. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. We're just going to kind of experiment with it. We're not going to run from beginning to end. I'm just going to see, how it feels, how it plays, how it feels to create a character. So first, you roll for the date setting. If you want, by the way, all of the options for things, not just the ones that I roll, you're going to have to go get the game. I will, however, make it really cheap. I'm really cheap. I'll literally make it $1. I'll be making one of these each month. So and I want it to be accessible, and it's just a micro TTRPG that I literally made in 10 minutes. So I think $1 is okay. I think it'd be nice. It'd be a nice little tip. I appreciate it anyway. So I'm excited about this. Let's roll. All of these are tables of 1 to 6 because we have a D6. Let's roll. What does that say? That's a 6. Okay. Oh no. The date that we're having is a home-cooked meal, which there's an additional thing to this. It says roll and choose the host couple. If you roll, it's the lowest roll that wins. If I roll 4 and higher, then the opposing couple does it. If I roll under 4, then they'll do it. Because usually you would, have more people, but it's just me. I rolled a 6. I said 4 or higher. They choose it, so the op is hosting. Also with this, we're going to pretend we have 4 people, just 2 people couples, because I'm not about to play 8 people. We're only going to do a character creator for one of them because, again, we're just getting a feel for it here. We're not playing the whole game through. It's not an AP. So we're just gonna make one character, but like for the sake of like playing, we're gonna pretend that there's 3 other people here with me on this competitive ass date. So you choose your names, your ages, your appearance, and your job. We're just gonna choose. I looked up and I was like, what can we do? And I was like, what's the inspiration for a name? And I looked up and the only thing here is a bag of potato chips. But the brand is called Lowlands. So we're gonna call our person Laura, and she is 32. Let's just for sakes think she looks like me. If you don't know what I look like, you should head on over to my Twitter and check out my selfies. Except the most recent pictures are actually me in cosplay as Buggy the Clown from One Piece. So that's not what I normally look like, but pretend. She's gonna look like me for this right now, and her job is she is a consultant. What does that mean? I don't know, but it's certainly dinner conversation. We're gonna go from that into the things that you roll. So there's some stuff you roll as a couple, some stuff you roll per player. So per player, the only thing actually that you roll per player is your personal employment status. So let's roll this again. Stop giving me 6s. I got a 2. 2 is I got fired this morning. Oh, that sets the tone. All of these things influence your character and how you're going to play this, right? So I got fired this morning. Wow. Got fired from my mysterious job this morning. And now technically you would roll these you choose one person from the couple or like polyamorous couple to do this. Obviously I'm the only person here, so I'm just gonna roll all of them. So what is the relationship status that we have? 3. 1, 2, 3. We're committed. And I think that that's okay. No, wait, that's not. Ooh, I read that wrong. Sorry. We're split on marriage. One of us wants to get married, the other one doesn't. So we're split on marriage. You can decide, which one wants to get married and which one doesn't. I'm going to put she doesn't want to. She's on the anti side. She does not want to get married. Our economic status. Now you can roll low. That would be nice. Well, if my economic status is 5, well off because of a secret debt. Now, will this come out during dinner? Will this not? I don't know. We'll see how the conversation goes, but I'm well off because of secret debt. Maybe that's why I don't want to get married. So I'm like, if we get married, my debt's going to go to you, and I actually don't want that to happen. Well off because of debt. Yikes. How long have we been together? I got a 1, and I'm so excited because I really wanted the 1. We've been together for 24 hours. Going on a double date when you haven't been together for very long at all is actually crazy. This is fantastic. I've never been happier. Did we have a meet cute or a meet ugly? For that, you roll a d6. On an even, you had a meet cute. On an odd, you had a meet ugly. It's an even 4. We had a meet cute. We can decide together what that is. Let's say we had a meet cute at a cafe. You picked up my order. You got confused. But it was the same drink. We ordered the exact same, very specific drink. And we just grabbed each other's thing. We were very confused when we saw the wrong name. And we went back to the counter at the same time. And we met each other 24 hours ago. And you want to get married immediately. What an amazing dynamic to play with. And this is just one of the couples in the game. This is fantastic. So you start, you meet at the venue, which is, we meet at this couple's home, who's invited this couple who's been together for 24 hours to their home. Why? That's up to the couple. That's up to the other players to decide why they did that. So also fuel their motivation for this conversation. So the person who gets to go first is the person who's most appropriately dressed, which is the lowest roll. That's who starts, and then in ascending order from the rolls as possible, re-roll for tiebreakers if you need to. The next player from a different couple or the opposing couple if there's more than one couple, or, as long as it's diagonal. The best dressed, by the way, so the one who has the lowest roll and starts first, gets 1 bragging point to start with, and the one who is worst dressed loses 1. So you start off with -1 as a couple if you are dressed fucking horribly for the occasion. So we're gonna roll, and if I roll a 3 or under, I'm gonna give myself the +1, and if I roll over, then I'm really, really not dressed appropriately for this. I got a 5. So I'm gonna lose a point. We're gonna start off with -1 BP because I'm dressed horribly. I might have I did get fired this morning, so I might be in my depression jeans. Depression jeans. All jeans can be depression jeans if you really try hard enough. I'm gonna be, I'm gonna be in my, I think it's nice, but it's probably not appropriate. I'm gonna be in my Scooby-Doo pajama pants. I'm gonna be in my Scooby-Doo pajama pants and my giant, oh my god, the pajama that I have right now is that, and then I wear this really big t-shirt that says the inner machinations of my mind are an enigma, and it says a picture of a Beanie Baby. That's what I'm wearing to this date with this person who wants to marry me after meeting me 24 hours ago, and I have a secret debt, and that's why I'm well off, or we're well off. I got fired this morning and I have to go on a competitive double date. Oh my god. With this person I don't even really know that well. So after that, let's just assume that I'm the worst dressed, so I didn't go first. So the conversation's been flowing, right? Because it's not like you're not allowed to speak. You are allowed to speak. You're allowed to have conversation. It's just not your turn to roll for an initiating action, right? But now it's gotten to be my turn for initiating action. If there's an awkward moment, by the way, you can try to save it because it could work out for you. There's a risk. You don't have to roll when there's a super awkward moment. You can just take the L because you won't get any points if you make it really awkward. If you talk about yourself when you're supposed to talk about your partner, etc., you don't get any points. But even if you mess up, you can try to smooth segue it when you roll another d6. So let's say things have been awkward because of my PJ pants. My partner, for example, might have decided, I'm going to help out this stranger who is the love of my life. And I'm going to roll. On a 1 to 2, success. You get a bragging point. You manage to steer the conversation in a way that actually works. So you're going to roll before you talk, by the way, for this one. You're going to roll before you fucking speak. And then you can act out, what does that look like? Like a smooth segue in this situation that actually made me look kind of good. Maybe you talked about how, I actually very deeply don't believe in aestheticism, which is, not what that means, but we're just going with it. And I'm trying to be my authentic self. And that's something that they really admire about me, and I actually, I look pretty good right now. So we get a bragging point as a couple. You collect them as a couple, of course, the couple's points. On a 3 to 4, mid, you just made it exactly as awkward as it was, but not worse. So there's no change in points. And if 5 to 6 roll means you put your foot in your mouth, you made me look actually worse, you made both of us look worse, and we lose 2 bragging points. Now, of course, these can be regained, of course, in the action. So now it's my turn. Maybe they, let's see if they saved me. I got a 3, no change, so no dice. They had no way to explain that I showed up to the state in PJs. But, they didn't make it worse, so that's okay. Now, my action dice, these have different kind of conversational prompts, and some of them come with points. Some of them do not yet come with points. You can try to end up making them have points by doing a little smooth segue, trying to ease into some conversation about making your partner look good. Let's see what I start doing to this date. I feel like I'm gonna nuke this date, which also would be in character for me to fucking nuke this date, but I am trying. I got a 5, which is talk about or ask for a story or a fact about the opposing couple. Now this would give the opposing couple a chance to either share their meet cute or their meet ugly, to share a recent story, something relevant, but they have to think fast. We're on a date. You can't just be let me think, and then take 10 minutes to deliberate your role. You have to go. You have to reply. You have to reply. Both of you are up. Try, maybe not to interrupt each other. Maybe you accidentally interrupt each other, but you can make it cute by laughing it off. These are all things that you can do. And since this one doesn't come with any points, maybe they're telling a story about this time that oh my god, one time we were coming up from the state and we saved this kitten that was stuck behind it, and that's our cat now, and that would make them look so good. That would make them look so good. They would totally get a bragging point for that. They looked so good. But maybe I also want to look good. And I'm okay, well, this has no loss for us. So, I could just take this and we can move on. And, we have more chances to gain points, especially, as other people can gain points from, interactions that you propose to them. But I could try to smooth segue. So I'm going to choose a smooth segue. I'm going to roll. I got a 5 again. No, I got a 5. Okay. Ooh, okay. So I have to put my foot in my mouth, which means that I have to now look these people in the eye after they told me this heartwarming story about how they saved this kitten. And I'm going to start being oh my god, we had a kitten when I was growing up. We had a kitten. It was so cute. I named it Buttons. And, it only had one eye. And, my mom saved it. We found it behind the bin. And then I'll just, trail off, awkwardly. And then somebody goes, okay, so that was your childhood cat? And I'm no, she ran away. The delivery is horrible. The delivery is flat. This is awkward. How would you even respond to somebody talking like this and like spacing out like that in the middle? Absolutely not. So, foot in mouth, made it massive awkward silence. Maybe you mentioned something about like a possible demise of the cat. That's very uncomfortable. Nobody wants to hear that. As an apropos of nothing. Foot in my mouth. And this is how the game is going to continue. This is how the whole thing goes with several people that you cannot predict. You have no idea what's going to happen. And this is just going to prompt a lot of stories to come up. I think this could get really fun. This could get really messy. That means I also lost 2 more points, so I'm now at -3 BP. So, like, we're really losing this fucking date. Also, because I don't have a real teammate to, like, help me. Maybe they want to help me. So, maybe my partner's going to cut in, try to smooth segue my smooth segue. He's got a 6-foot mouth. He's going to make it worse. How beautiful. Because also, here's the thing. It's competitive dating, so technically the end game condition is to win. But the point of playing with other people is also to tell fun stories and have, like, laughs. And I feel like this is conducive to that. So that would be that. We're coming to the end. We just gave it a little bit of a go, and I really liked it. And here we go. Big thanks to you for playing along if you made something, or if you're noodling about something. Mostly, though, thank you for listening. As always, I am Cutest Patoot, and I'll catch you next time. Thank you for listening to 10-Minute TTRPGs. We want to see your games, even if they're just sketches. If you want to play today's game, you can here in the link in the description. Make sure to hit the follow, subscribe, notification buttons to never miss a show, depending on what you're using to listen to us. If you can leave us a sweet 5-star review, it is really appreciated. You can also share these games with me on Twitter, like I mentioned earlier, or on Insta at @TheCutestPatoot. Everything's linked in the description. It's the same socials on both of them. You can also hit up my other socials listed in the description box below. While you're at it, make sure to check out my other shows on the network, which are also linked below. And of course, feel free to check out the games that I create at the same place you'll find this game, cutestpatoot.itch.io. I'll see you next month. And remember, if you can tell a story, you can make a game.